Ni hao.
So as the previous video, we have talked about the choosing from public schools to private schools. So how about today? Would you tell us why is it useful to send our children to a private school?
Certainly, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. So today we're going to talk about how valuable is it to send your child to a private school rather than a public school. And just before we start that, I'd just like to explain what kind of background I have in private schools and also selective universities. So I didn't attend a private school, I went to a state school, but I went to a highly selective university, University of Oxford. And then I came to Canada. I was a lecturer at SFU for 10 years and then became a teacher, and I was head of grade at St. George's School for 21 years, and then I became a principal at St. John's School for 4 years, and I am now currently the head at Canada Royal Arts Academy. So here you'll see this is my family. My daughter here, she was deputy head girl at Crofton House School, and she has gone on to an American university. She went to Duke. And our son here, this is graduating from St. George's. He went to St. George's School and he went on to a Canadian university, Trent. So I've got a lot of experience of UK, US and Canadian universities, as well as private schools in Canada, both co-ed and single sex. So here you see that BC has the highest number of students enrolled in independent schools in the whole of Canada. Now we've got a couple of main questions. One is, why pay for a private school? And secondly, is private school better than public school?
Mr. Darling,
Sure.
I have a question. Why international students need to pay the tuition fee while the local student doesn't need to pay?
Right, well that's a good question. So local students, in other words Canadian students, their fees for public school are paid for by their parents. They're paid in their property taxes, school fees. And foreign students, especially foreign students whose parents are living abroad, aren't paying taxes and aren't paying taxes specifically for schools. So if you're a foreign student, you will be paying for your public school, not just for your independent or private school. So if you are going to be paying for your child's education anyway, you're going to be paying the same to go to a public school as a private school, I think you'll see in the course of this presentation that you're much better off sending them to a private school rather than a public school. So let's have a look. Why invest in a private school? Well, there's 4 main reasons. Now, first is academic quality. The second is safety and a sense of community. Thirdly is the educational philosophy. And fourthly is the resources that you have. So let's have a look at each one of those. So academic quality. Obviously you have, it's a very challenging environment. The private schools are generally faster paced than the public schools, and they are selective. So you're being challenged, and when students are challenged, they tend to perform better. So that leads to greater success. There's also a lot more positive peer pressure. Now, in many public schools where selection is not an issue, you have a big range of students. And so you have some students that have very negative attitudes towards education, for example. And so you might get teased if you are considered a brain box or a Spock. You know, you try too hard. So there is a certain amount of negative peer pressure. Whereas in the private schools, the peer pressure is very positive. It's seen to be cool, to be trying hard. Everybody wants to succeed. So that helps everybody. They all rise to the occasion. The second big difference is class sizes. Private school students have generally much smaller classes than public schools. And small class sizes generally leads to more personal approach by teachers. Students are held more accountable. It's easier to deal with 15 to 20 students than it is with 25 to 30.